Joining me right now is motoring journalist and no doubt fed up driver, Quentin Wilson. Hello, Quentin. How are you?
Fine, thank you, Julie.
Lovely to see you. Probably all right, as long as you haven't driven over a pothole today. The pothole problem has been an issue, I mean, for so many years in this country. Are we uniquely bad at repairing potholes?
I think you've got to remember, we went through 2 decades, didn't we, of four wheels bad, two wheels good. And our roads were underinvested and neglected. And that's the reason why they're the crumbling ruin they are now. I think, we need to admit that they are critical infrastructure without which the country can't function and we can't be productive. When you see shots like that, I mean, there's a public safety issue there, isn't there? So it's about political will. But remember, back in the 2000s, John Prescott said, I'm going to get 10% of the population on public transport and we mustn't build any more new roads because more people will use them. Well, I think
Brilliant.
we've passed all that now, and we realise that this modal shift to public transport hasn't happened and probably isn't going to happen. And we need to fix the roads that we've got. Otherwise, the country is in dire peril.
But also, at the same time as not building more roads, everyone had the great idea of bringing in 10 million more people. And then wondering where those people were going to go, how they were going to get about their daily lives. But, I mean, this is it. The breaking point is the cost of fixing these potholes has gone sky high. The longer you leave them, the more they cost. And, of course, we've got a lot more electric vehicles, which apparently weigh tons more and are causing more damage.
Oh, stop you there.
No?
The idea that electric cars wear out roads more when you've got 44-ton HGVs.
Oh, OK.
Well, Julia, come on, that's counterintuitive.
That's just what the article's saying. I'm just like, I've got no idea what cars weigh. Listen, you know what, Quentin, you know me on cars. I've got a grey car. That's all I know about it. I've literally.
You're not daft.
That's all I've got. That's all I've got in the tank, quite literally. But this is the thing. So you've got the councils are basically saying we can't afford to mend all these potholes. They then get bigger and bigger, end up costing more. Councils then paying out a fortune, basically to pay back motorists for the damage these potholes have done, because they're supposed to have paid them. How did we end up with £16 billion bill? I mean, there isn't that money.
There has been always this research that's come out every single year by the Asphalt Association telling us this, and we haven't done anything about it as a country and as governments. And it's not just the Conservative; it was Labour before. So we need just to have this political will to say we're going to change this, we're going to make it better. And also we need to look at better surfaces, and we can't just carry on putting a splodge of tarmac in a hole as we have done for decades and decades, then watching it degrade in a matter of months and then doing it again or not doing it again. So we need, proper materials for 21st century roads, and we need to look at this and say, how do we solve this problem permanently? Because if we don't, people will get hurt and our productivity will decline significantly.
Yeah, and it does impact on that. I have to say also, for me, it's just about general feeling of being surrounded by things just collapsing and not functioning properly. I've travelled in a lot of third world nations, I think we call them developing nations now, with terrible roads. Often, though, better roads than I see in central London even. You'd think, how on earth have we, as a first world rich country, we might have been rich once anyway, come to this? But the thing is, especially when people are paying more and more to drive on the roads. I mean, huge percentage of the amount of money you pay on diesel and on petrol, it goes in taxes. Now, of course, that doesn't all go into the roads, but I think we'd expect perhaps a bit more of it to go into the roads than it is, plus all the fines that are being charged. Now, there's also another story here about more than half of drivers face being fined for traffic offences by councils under what's been called a new war on motorists. 85 of England's 152 highway authorities now have the power to fine drivers up to £70 for traffic violations like getting caught in a yellow box, making an illegal U-turn, driving in a bus lane when not permitted. And that includes more than 27 million potential drivers in those areas. Now, look, if you break the rules on the road, that's your choice, isn't it? If you drive in a bus lane or you do a U-turn when it says no U-turns, probably for a good reason, then you have to expect to get fined. But this does add to this general feeling that people, and especially the yellow box thing, when often you really did think the car was going to go ahead of you and it hasn't moved. People feel when they're driving that they are just a cash cow now.
They do. And I mean, it's not surprising, really, when you've got these councils that are clearly trying to raise revenue. It doesn't improve road safety if your wheel is slightly on a yellow line in a box, as I've had, and you get the ticket through and you think, do you know, this really isn't fair. And you understand that this is just about money.
Yeah.
And we are, as a, 37 million of us, the electorate that drive, that have licenses, we're voters. And I think it's really important to understand that we shouldn't put up with this for such a long time. And
Well, how do we not put up with it?
well, you kind of go with the party that says, look, they are going to help, but shows they're going to help. And under some of the stuff that I hear from the Conservatives seems a little like empty rhetoric when they've been in charge for things for so long.
Yeah.
And I want somebody who understands about roads and cars and fuel and electric cars, who knows their stuff, who can have a conversation with me eye to eye. And I know that person is actually informed, intelligent, and learning.
Well, you'll have to try someone other than me, because I definitely can't do that. Quentin Wilson, thank you so much. Great to talk to you. Tom Slater, do you have a car? Do you drive? No. See, I mean, I barely drive. Our car sometimes has cobwebs on it. I drive so little. But that's the thing. A lot of these policies are being made by people who don't drive. They live in central London. They've got public transport available to them 24/7.
Yeah, but even in London, people need their cars, like to take the kids to and from school. A lot of people drive for a living as well, and you'll never find anyone as furious about that. Someone who has to, as a matter of, in terms of being a delivery driver or a cabbie, driving through London on a daily basis. The idea that we are just going to kind of move away from cars is ridiculous. It's not been borne out by decades now, so we need to reverse this.
Exactly. Although I think we're all in flying taxis, we heard earlier this week, but there we go. Good luck with that.